Hi, welcome to the University of Canberra Orientation Week Semester 2 2024 Science Course Advice video. I'm Dr. David Hartley, a Program Director here in the School of Science. I'm going to take you through some slides that mostly relate to environmental science and some of those broader science majors. If you're after medical science or biomedical science, there's a separate video for you to watch. We won't linger too long on the slides as they will be available for you to download, but let's get into it now. So as mentioned, this is our course advice session, mainly focused on the environmental sciences, but we will be that bit broader as well. If you're in the Bachelor of Science and you haven't made up your mind on your major yet, that's absolutely fine. The important first step is to make sure you're enrolled for your units coming up this semester. In this video, I'll point you towards where you can find resources and give some general advice. I would first like to acknowledge the Ngunnawal people who are the traditional custodians on the lands on which I am recording this video. I wish to acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and contribution they make to the life of Canberra and the region, and also acknowledge all other First Nations people on whose land we gather. Their continuing connection to country and how that relates to learning environments is something we can all learn from. So who am I? Well, I'm Dr. David Hartley, and I'm a lecturer here as well as the Program Director for the Bachelor of Science Environmental Science and the Bachelor of Science, some of the other majors in there. You'll probably see me around in some of your units, taking some data analysis skills for science, contextual physics with mathematics, or possibly even discrete mathematics if you take that as an open elective. As you may have guessed, my research area is mainly in that mathematics side, although you can see in my picture here, getting down with nature, wearing those environmental waders in order to hunt down a drink. Below that image, you can see a figure from my PhD showing the undulate as a graph over a cylinder between two parallel planes. My research was based around how surfaces change over time, whether that be soap bubbles or bushfire fronts. You'll probably also see me around campus, and feel free to say hi and ask about how things are going. And that relates to most academics. They're generally always willing to talk about their research. If you want a consultation to really talk about some issue with your degree, you can contact via email by first reaching out to our SciTech education team at scitech-studentinquiries@canberra.edu.au. The education team is great and they'll escalate it if it needs academic judgment. Here are some of the other contacts within the faculty. We have Professor Janine Deacon, who's our Executive Dean of SciTech. If you go to the Canberra site, there should be a nice little welcome video from her as well. We have our Associate Dean of Education, Luke, and our Head of School, Matt. Then we have our Program Director team of myself and Margarita Medina. You'll see most of these people around in classes, maybe not Luke, who is from the ITS side of the faculty, but hopefully you won't have to deal with them too much in these roles. You can definitely speak to Margarita as another Program Director. That's a great option for you to get some advice. I'd now like to take this time to introduce the UC Enviro Club. This is a social club at the University of Canberra, and it's a great place for you to meet others interested in studying environmental science. They generally get together about once a week to chat, where you can talk about how things are going, your hobbies, just have a social drink, or something else that you'll want to do in the future. They have the social events of drinks, barbecues, picnics. They usually have a regular time where they'll go out and do one of these events each week. There are also expert panel nights where you might have researchers, professors and faculty members from across the university come in to chat about what they're doing. Or nature appreciation events where you can go bird watching, bushwalks, these types of things. They also get involved in activism, such as Clean Up Australia Day and Platypus Month, which might be fun to get involved in. While the other side, they can just relax with a movie night. They'll look at documentaries, inspirational films, and order in some pizza for dinners. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook using these codes. Or if you use this QR code or go to the address on the screen, you can sign up and make sure that you're involved and getting that information for what they're doing. My general advice is to join up anything that piques your interest. Participation in these sorts of things looks great on your CV because it's not just about drinking beer and involving yourself socially. There's great activities as well to get involved in. The fun stuff's out of the way. Let's get back into how you can get course advice. And one of the main avenues is through Student Central. They're located in Building 1 and the email address student.centre@canberra.edu.au. There is a lot on this slide, so maybe come back to it as needed. But generally, this is your first stop for any admin inquiry. They run drop-ins in Building 1 where you can come by and ask your questions, and there's usually a SciTech rep available there for you. So if you're having trouble with any of your enrolments, your tutorials, your timetables, just navigating the MyC student portal, you can go there and speak to them. They'll also make sure you're set up with an ID card, which is important, as it will give you access to the library outside of business hours. However, before seeking additional support, take a look around the digital handbook, which has information on all your courses and units. It has typical study plans, course requirements, prerequisites, but also your unit convener contact details and consultation times in the unit outline, along with textbooks you might need. It's a wealth of information and even has things such as different majors and minors that you might like to pick up along the way, but we'll talk more about that later. While the digital handbook has a lot of information, it can be a bit generic. There is a School of Science Canvas site with a bit more information on it, or you can send an inquiry to our SciTech team. For more complicated issues such as varying a unit, going overseas, or taking a unit at ANU in cross-institutional studies, that's when you'll probably be sent to me to have a chat. In particular, if it's something like, can I do X instead of Y in this particular major? That's when I'll have to assess that with you. Choosing a major isn't the end of our discussions either. We'll be able to talk about your studies and make sure you're doing something that's right for you. Our courses have built-in open electives, which means that you are welcome to take something from across the university, such as maybe IT, some more mathematics, or even creative writing. Throughout orientation week, our SciTech team will also be available with drop-ins to talk to you. When you are getting in touch with us, make sure you're using your student email address. It begins with your student ID, you and a bunch of numbers, at uni.canberra.edu.au. All correspondence to and from the university should be via this UC email address. It allows us to verify your identity, and it's where your lecturers and anyone is going to send you important information. Any email a lecturer sends you or Canvas announcement that they post is considered read by you. So if you don't keep up with that, you may miss something very important. Speaking of Canvas, who's had a look around? Canvas is our learning management system, like Moodle or Blackboard, if you've heard of them. We use tiles for each of our different units. So you should go in there and have a look around. Everything we do is via Canvas. There's notes, recordings, informations, all your assessment submissions. It's all in there. Your lecturers will use it in slightly different ways from lecturer to lecturer, but all this information will be there. You should already have a few tiles there. Maybe you've enrolled in contextual physics with mathematics. But then there's also the academic integrity module, an important module that's required to complete as part of your degree, and it's also included in the professional orientation science unit as a compulsory aspect. There's also the very important School of Science Course Advice and Information Canvas site. And let's delve into that a bit deeper. Inside the site, you'll see these little tiles indicating where you can go. There's study plans, there's frequently asked questions. They send out announcements around internships, graduate programs, paid work, lots of different things in there. There's also information about the professional practice units that you'll be doing, along with links to study skills, O-Week resources, different societies. A whole lot of information in there. You should have a look around, maybe even meet the program directors and see a different video by myself. I mentioned study skills and the links to it from within Canvas in the course information site, but there are also other links to it throughout. Study skills are there to help you throughout your study. There are Ask Advisors for general study and library help, or study skills drop-in sessions with specialist studies on referencing and language. There are ways to help you with assessment writing, academic integrity, lots of different things. There's also MASH for specialist help with maths, stats, and IT, and some units will be involved with peer-assisted learning sessions, which is a specific group study session for some units. Those sessions are generally run by a student who did well in the previous year for that unit and will come back to help you out with it. There's also Studiosity available to you for that 24/7 help with writing feedback or Connect Live sessions. At some points, maybe even a lecturer decides to refer you to study skills. You shouldn't see this as a bad thing, but rather their advice that you might benefit from some complementary skills. Outside of studying, we also have two very important services of medical and counselling, which is also located in Building 1 with a big range of general services in there and counselling services. They do bulk bill for UC students and have free counselling if you want support or to talk about something. There's also student wellbeing, who are located in Student Central, and they're there to support you through a broad range of issues relating to your wellbeing. Hit them up if you want to talk. It's completely confidential. There are also referrals to them, and they've got an email address there if you just want to get in touch to find out more. But that isn't the end of our specialised services. They do extend throughout a number of different areas. We have Careers UC, which are embedded in some of our units, such as the Professional Orientation Unit. And they're also located in Building 1, but they're upper floor, they're above the refectory. And they're there to help you with advice on placements, some requirements, finding employment, or just general career guidance. We have Inclusion UC, which is in Student Central, and they provide support for students with ongoing health conditions. If that is you, I definitely recommend going to talk to them. They can create a reasonable adjustment plan for you that allows conveners to provide you with the help you need to succeed at university through adjusting assessments or class attendance requirements. It's all confidential, so the unit convener doesn't find out about the underlying health concern, just what is appropriate as an adjustment on the conditions of their course. There are also specific services around international students. There's the Ngunnawal Centre for Assistance for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students, student advocacy, and the food pantry. Revisit this slide if you need. But remember, for items related to your course, you should hit up the education team first. But in general, academics are mostly approachable too. Another thing you might be interested in is the UC Student Mentor Program, which pairs you up with a student who has been through various things in their degree to help you get started at university and guide you through it. It can also help with just meeting new people or how to speak to academics. There's also the Student Resource Centre, which is in Building 6 on the ground floor, which is a great place to go and study. And again, you might even meet people from your degree that are there. The sign, I don't believe, is any longer there, but you enter it through the courtyard between buildings 6, 12, and 3. You can just hang out there, there are old textbooks, and it's university wide, so you can also meet people from other disciplines. Okay, let's get into the heart of it, which is your course. At UC, we have two main semesters, which are 13 weeks. Week 8 is a class-free week. However, this does not mean it's a week off study, assessments, or even field trips, which units might have during this time. So make sure you're around if that's the case. After semester, there are also 2 weeks of exams. We do also have summer and winter semesters with a reduced number of units that run during that time. Chemical Foundations does run in winter to allow you to get ahead if you need it. An important thing, no matter what unit you're doing, is to read your unit outline, as that's kind of like our contract with you as to how the unit's going to run and how you're going to pass. And also keep checking your Canvas sites. What is a unit? I've used the word unit throughout this presentation, so now let's actually talk about what it is. A unit is what we'll call a specific subject, such as biological concepts or chemical foundations. It's usually a semester long. In science, there were 3 credit points, and it will have an identifying code 11722, 11768. You may not be familiar with these yet, but you might get more familiar. But if not, that's fine. If you call it by its name, that's all good as well. There are also majors and some minors. A major is usually 8 units, and it's a packaged up related units or sequential units in a specific area that say that you've achieved something in that area. A minor is then usually 4 units or 12 credit points, with some progression through levels. There aren't many minors anymore, so you'll most likely complete your degree without doing one. The dreaded slide, your expected workload. 1 unit of 3 credit points is designed so that the total workload is 150 hours on average over the teaching period. So if our teaching period is 13 to 15 weeks, you're looking at 10 or more hours per week. For a typical unit, this might be 3 to 4 contact hours per week, 4 to 8 independent study hours to make up that 8 to 12 hours in total per week over 13 weeks. A full-time student will be doing, say, 4 units, and if you're doing 2 or fewer units, you're regarded as part-time. You don't need to tell us if you're going to go part-time, but it can have implications for study support and other things outside of the university. This workload of 150 hours is designed for you to learn the material and complete your assessments. We'll see soon that your first year is going to be largely a set structure. So where do we sit? Well, you've all arrived at the University of Canberra, but within UC we have 5 faculties, one of which is the Faculty of Science and Technology, or SciTech for short. Here we have some people using the latest technology or looking intensely at a flask. Typical science and technology type stuff. Well, within the Faculty of Science and Technology, we actually have 2 schools. The School of Science, and no real prizes for guessing the other one. Even within that, we have a few different areas within the school. We've got the biomed, we have the med, we've got the enviro, and others such as chemistry and biology. I'll mainly be talking about the environmental science, but I will talk about the general broad science degree as well. No matter what you're doing, focus at UC in terms of science is on experiential learning, getting out there with your hands and learning by doing. As part of the environmental science degree, you'll visit some great places, lots of projects, and have fun with people. This will mostly kick off in your second year. We also have a strong emphasis on work integrated learning, or WIL. There will be an industry engagement within your course, or research project, or something along these lines, and we have the professional practice core that's there for you as well, which is 4 units I'll discuss in a little bit. At UC, we run course advisory groups where we bring in people from industry to talk about our degrees, and they love these professional practice units and work integrated learning in general. They're very important skills and things that really set you up for performing well in a job. So let's look at the study plan for the Bachelor of Science, Environmental Science, starting in semester 2, 2024. Here it is here. As part of this plan, we have a core major in science. So you will have a major in science as part of this degree. It comprises of 4 foundation units: chemical concepts, biological concepts, contextual physics with mathematics, and data analysis skills for science. And 4 professional units, our professional suite: professional orientation science, professional practice 1 science, professional practice 2 science, which is our industry placement or research project unit, and professional evidence science. And you'll have a specialist major in environmental science, which are those other units listed there. Along with these 2 majors, you'll be having 8 other units, which you can take as, say, a breadth major, or just as random open electives from across the university. Don't write off the idea of doing things like literature. They are great skills to have. So really explore it, find out what you're interested in. One thing to note is that chemical concepts does have some assumed knowledge. It assumes year 12 chemistry. If you didn't do year 12 chemistry or you're not confident in it, then it's a good idea to do chemical foundations first. This would take up one of your open electives, which would restrict what breadth majors you could do. But remember, you do have 2 majors as part of this degree. For the standard Bachelor of Science, you'll also have a core major in science with those same units, and then you'll choose a specialist major. And again, you'll have 8 units to take as open electives or a breadth major. We have various specializations, but for a study plan, it really depends on what your specialization is. So go to the digital handbook. Again, you'll be doing chemical concepts, so make sure you're confident in that year 12 chemistry level. Otherwise, seek out chemical foundations as one of your open electives. Okay, so now it's time to wrap up. So remember, in the first instance, you can go to the Canvas site or the digital handbook, or email the education team, scitech-studentinquiries@canberra.edu.au. If things go beyond that, you might like to speak to me as a program director in science, or possibly Margarita, depending on what major you have. It would be rare that you'd have to go to math. That's the end of our presentation. I hope to see you at Orientation Day. It's a great day for you to come along, meet academics, meet myself, ask any questions you have that are specific to you, and see those student societies and get to know the campus. Okay, I'll see you around. Bye.